What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Nash, and today we're going to be talking about how you can network with finance professionals on LinkedIn. And this was something I actually did to get one of my part-time jobs as a financial analyst. You can use this to look for, internships, part-time jobs, or maybe full-time jobs. It's going to work for anybody. All right, so a couple of things to know before you even think about sending a message to someone. You have to find the company that you want to work for. And once you do that, you're going to be able to look through the employees that work for that company. So now if you're trying to be a financial analyst, I would recommend, targeting, financial analysts that have been working at the company for less than 2 years, right? So it might be 5 months, 12 months, a year and a half, or maybe 2 years sometimes. This is because these are people that just graduated from college, maybe, a year or two ago, and they really do understand, the position that you're in. You're trying to break into finance, so they're more likely to respond to your messages, right? So if you message someone who is maybe a senior analyst or a manager, they're probably not going to respond to you because, one, they have a lot of work to do. And then two, they just don't see the need to do that, right? So I would definitely, target somebody who is new at the company. Like I said, less than 2 years at the company. And these people are most likely to respond to your messages. All right, so once you find those two things, the company and the person, you're going to go ahead and make sure that your resume looks really great, right? Because we're going to be sending our resume in this message. So you don't want to send, an outdated resume that does not look good because, you only get one shot at this, right? Because you're going to send them the message. They're going to look at it. If the message is good enough, they'll respond to it. And if it's not, they'll just leave you on read. They probably won't even open it, right? So you want to make sure that everything is great. And I'm going to be giving you the template of what you can send here to the person as the actual message. But you want to make sure that your resume looks really great, right? So make sure you add your education, you add, all your experience that you've had, your skills, leadership skills, all those things that you want to add to it. So once you do that, you're going to go ahead and send the message. All right, so I have the screenshots on my computer here, and I'm going to be reading off of that. You guys are going to be able to see it on the screen, somewhere here on the screen. All right, so as you can see, guys, this was the first message that I sent, and you can literally copy this. And as you can see, my full name is blurred out and some information is blurred out. It's not important information. It's just information to protect my privacy. But as you can see here, this is obviously me on the profile picture. All right, so the first thing I did was I went ahead and introduced myself. So I said, my name is Nash, and I was interning at this company in San Antonio under the supervision of this person, right? So this line is if you're looking for a full-time job or part-time job, but you've also interned at that company. So as soon as you say, I used to work at the company, a while ago, they're going to be interested. Okay, let me read some more to see what this person's story is. So I went ahead and said I was working under the supervision of this manager, and I recently applied to the junior financial analyst in the San Antonio office, which is where I stay. So the second line here was telling him what I just did. So I just introduced the fact that I applied for a position online. After that, I said I graduated in May of 2020 with my BBA in finance, and I wanted to ask what you would recommend for someone like me to get into the insurance industry in a finance-related role. I have attached my resume. Thank you. And I went ahead and sent my resume. So what I did here was essentially tell him my timeline, right? So if he was going to be interested in recommending me for this position, he would know my timeline, right? So if I say I graduated in May of 2020, so he would know when I would possibly be able to start the job. And also, I also mentioned my degree because I obviously want to know that. And if you look on the last line here, I did not ask the person to maybe push my resume to the top or to put in a good word for me. You want to avoid begging to be recommended because that is a turn off. They're not going to want to help you because you're just asking at this point for things. So what I did here was ask for some advice. I said, what would you recommend for someone like me to work in a position like that, right? And then I also said I've attached my resume. So as soon as he sees that, like, what would you recommend for me, for someone like me, he's going to be like, well, I don't really know much about you. But then he sees that I've attached my resume, which is where I have a lot of the information. So that's going to force the person to read your resume. So after I sent that message, I got a reply maybe 2 hours later. And this is what he said. He said, I'll be back from vacation on Monday and we'll be happy to help. Thank you for reaching out. All right, so as you can see, my message created a great impression on this person. He even said, thank you for reaching out, right? Because my initial message was respectful and I was not begging for a job or an internship or a part-time job. And this was my response. I said, sounds good. Thank you so much and have a great vacation. So I've, kind of like created that nice relationship going on with him. All right, so a couple of days later, he got back from vacation and responded with this. He said, I should be able to sit down this evening to help. Sorry about the delay. It's been very busy here, but I wanted to let you know that I haven't forgotten. So you can already see that, this person really wants to help me. One thing about, people that work in finance, they're really, really busy. Some of them are working 80-hour weeks, 100-hour weeks. So, if you get somebody to really respond to you like this, to let you know that they haven't forgotten about, replying to you, that is really great. And that is why you never want to make your initial message long, because they don't have time to read that, right? So you want to make it as short as possible. And you also want to include that resume just in case they want to know more. So this was my response to that. I say, sounds good. Thank you so much for taking the time. So you always want to thank them for taking their time. So after a little while, this person literally sent me a message at 8:47 a.m. A lot of people do not wake up that early, but this person actually sent that message. So I can imagine he was typing it at like 6 a.m. or 4 a.m. But this was, pretty insightful. So we're going to go ahead and read this. You have an impressive resume to put you in line with your goals. So like I said before, you want to make sure that you're sending your best resume or the best version of your resume, because if it's not, they're not going to be able to help you. All right, so he said, funny enough, I came from a very insurance heavy background that would not have been conducive for me to join an investment or finance role. I feel like I lucked out with my current position because of who I knew. The proper connections make everything better, because it can be monotonous to keep applying to large companies without a response or receiving rejection letters. So you can already tell that he really wants to help me. He's letting me know something about his background, how he ended up, where he is. And he stresses out the point that it's important to know someone, right? Knowing somebody is what's going to give you that position, right? And after that, it is your job to prove that you deserve that position. So that's essentially what he's saying here. He's just saying that, you have to know someone, you have to make those connections, right? Which is what I was doing with him. So in the second paragraph here, he says, given your history in accounting and financial analysis, I would say you have the basics of what's needed to join as a financial analyst or a role in investments if you like, but you need to network, right? So he stresses this again. He says, he likes my resume because I have a lot of background in accounting and financial analysis. And he also says that, you're going to need to network, right? Because that's not enough. Just knowing those things is not enough. You need to network, because networking is going to open a bunch of doors for you. He also says I might sound like a broken record, but make sure to go to every possible networking event in school and tell the companies there that you are very eager to work in finance within the industry. Given the change that's happening with the company that I was trying to work at the time, I'm not sure our team will be able to add another analyst, but I will be sure to reach out if that changes. Let me know if I can help in any other way. And going back to the initial message, that I did not ask for a job. I just asked for something that you would recommend, right? But you can see that he was really looking out for me at the end. He says, they're not going to be able to add another analyst to the team because they have a bunch of changes going on. But you can tell that he wanted to plug me in, right? So if those changes weren't happening, he probably would have recommended me to the hiring manager, because he saw my resume and he spoke to me and I were really connected, which is essentially networking. So this was my response, and I responded. Pretty much was like 3 minutes later. I say that thank you so much for your feedback. It is really helpful to get insight from someone who is already in the industry. I will start networking more this upcoming semester. Thank you so much once again, and have a great day. And he said good luck. I was really grateful for him taking the time to really write 2 paragraphs at 8 a.m. in the morning, right? The way this story ends is a couple weeks later, he ended up reaching out to me for a position that was open, which was a financial analyst position. And at that position was also part-time, so I worked there for a little bit and I gained a lot of experience and I networked with a lot of people while I was working there. So I was trying to make the most out of the short time that I was working there. But so that is how you actually network with professionals. You want to keep it brief, and you also want to add your resume in there. And if you're going to add your resume, make sure it's top notch. It's really the best version of your resume. And and just be genuine. That is how you do that. So let me know if you guys want to see part 2, because I actually sent a lot of these and you can see the different responses that I got using that template that I was using. And let me know if you guys want to see more of these. I'll be able to show you some of those messages. So that is pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.